Fans of BL, hop on quickly, I can't stop the car.
Under the night sky, with moonlight entering the room, two handsome guys are engaging in some intense activities.
Moans keep coming, don't do this, Bayu's face flushed pink from frustration, panting heavily.
Don't do this, Yu, holding his disheveled hair, stop crying. As long as you promise never to leave me again, I won't hurt you. Bayu responded. Yu stood up and said, you should have obeyed earlier. Meanwhile, Bayu is freaking out internally, calling out to the system, little confused, come out quickly.
Is this my target for the strategy? A cute little boy system appears. Let me see, host, he doesn't seem to be your target for this strategy. The target you're supposed to strategy is, where is it? Just wait. Bayu is utterly frustrated, damn it, he's not the target after all this acting in trouble. At this moment, Yu catches Bayu by the waist. Leaning in, I will take good care of you. Bayu, knowing he's not the target, doesn't want to pretend anymore.
Damn it, a direct knee hit, followed by a crack sound. Yu's manhood is definitely seriously injured.
Then, with a karate chop, he knocked Yu unconscious. He kicked the man off him and moved him aside. Hurry up, get up and put on your clothes. It really is fragile and vulnerable.
Worshipping the system with shining eyes, the host is mighty and domineering. Truly powerful, defeating the enemy in one move. Stop it, no more useless talk.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be busy for nothing.
Hurry up and find the target for this strategy, don't delay me from completing the mission and being reborn. The system is flipping through its notebook diligently.
Completely shocked, it's all over. Bayu, what's wrong with you now?
The system quickly apologizes, I'm sorry, host, I accidentally made a mistake. The target for this strategy, the system points with its finger, is the one you kicked in the vital parts, lying on the bed. Bayu is speechless, you might as well not be called the clumsy system, call yourself the troublesome system. The clumsy system immediately cries, boo-hoo-hoo, I really didn't do it on purpose. Bayu sat on the bed, staring at the unconscious Yu.
Isn't he the big boss? Why can't he take a hit?
The system thinks maybe it's because you kicked him in the vitals.
Who knew you'd strike so hard? You're a man too, don't you know how painful it is to be hurt there? You better quickly transmit the plot to me, I need to think about what to do. Dealing with such an unreliable system, Bayu is also fed up. The system directly transmits the plot to Bayu.
Mission objective, obtain 100% favorability from the villain boss within the specified time.
Reward, rebirth.
Target mission, the overbearing CEO Yu, who has an extremely strong possessiveness, and wants to control anyone he recognizes as his own. He wishes to bind them to his side 24 hours a day. And the person he has recognized is you in this world, whose name is also Bayu. You don't like Yu, even hate him for his overbearing nature, always wishing to leave him immediately. Meanwhile, your brother Ziling has always wanted to replace you, inciting you to elope while informing Yu of your plans. After your escape attempt, Yu captures you back to the villa and imprisons you. Refusing to submit, you directly utter the most provocative words to him, I would rather be with a dog than with you. Yu, clenching his jaw, holds your chin and says, you are mine, you can only be with me forever. Escape is never possible. Just like that, Yu breaks your legs and binds you to his side with iron chains, subjecting you to various humiliations. Eventually, you couldn't bear it anymore and end your life with a pair of scissors. After your death, Yu goes mad, completely falls into darkness, and begins to seek revenge on the world. Then, the world completely collapses. Special reminder, the higher the villain's darkening value, the higher his tyranny. If the darkening value reaches 100% before the mission is completed, the mission is considered a failure. Now, your task is to soothe Yu, preventing him from having the time to destroy the world. Currently, you are at the moment of being captured after eloping. If you don't please Yu, your legs will be broken. Bayu, while untying his clothes, said, all right, I understand. His sexy body directly showcases how tempting a man's body can be. It's too much for me to bear. The system wonders, what are you trying to do? What do you think? Of course, it's to make amends. Lying beside Yu, she strokes his face. Now, it's still not too late, right? What do you think Bayu will do to make amends because of the system's mistake? Due to a system error, Bayu almost crippled Yu. To salvage the situation, she had to step in personally. The system is perplexed, but the host has fainted. Are you going to be on top? And then do that to him? I can guarantee you, if you're on top, tomorrow it won't just be your legs that are broken. Bayu continued to hold Yu's neck. Who said I wanted to be on top? I don't want to work that hard.
Now is the time to cleverly kiss Nia Lingyu's neck and plant many strawberries. She also pinched a few herself. The system is embarrassed. Host, are you just planning to bluff your way through? Baiyu grabbed Nia Lingyu's hand and then her own waist. Let's just try and see. What if he forgives her? Thus, the two embraced and fell asleep. The next moment Nia Lingyu opens his eyes. Seeing Baiyu in his arms, who had been plotting to elope with someone else, he says, "Do you really detest me that much? I really want to strangle you so you can never leave me." Ziyu snuggled into his arms, looking so pitiful that Nia Lingyu couldn't help but soften. At this moment, he wasn't afraid of me at all, just quietly lying on top of me, which was quite nice. Suddenly, Baiyu let out a trembling cry, which pained the male lead. It woke him up. The system told Baiyu that the host's current favorability rating with the target character was 20. Baiyu thought to himself, this favorability is really low, this mission isn't simple, just as I expected. He opened his eyes and gave Nia Lingyu a bright smile. "Lingyu, you're awake. After what happened between us yesterday, you have to take responsibility for me." Baiyu pulled down his clothes to reveal the marks on his body. "Look, you've kissed me all red here." The system broke into a cold sweat. "Host, you're being too fake." "He's not a fool. It was clearly you who kicked him in a sensitive spot." Nia Lingyu stood up directly. "I didn't touch you at all yesterday, and you're still lying to me now." Baiyu hugged Nia Lingyu directly. "I don't care, it was you who kissed me. Look, there are also kiss marks from me on your body. I want you to take responsibility for me. I will cling to you and never leave you." Nia Lingyu was stunned. Doesn't he hate me the most? He can't wait to leave me. Ding! Target's affection increased by 5 points. Baiyu's mind kept receiving prompts. Oomph, easily handled. The system was quite impressed. Wow, the host's affection has increased. You're amazing. Baiyu thought, he looks so tough, but he's just a hypocritical and love-deprived guy. Nia Lingyu coughed for a week. No, I can't just believe him like this. Then he stubbornly said, "A slut like you, who knows whose marks are on your body? Do you think I would believe your nonsense?" Baiyu was frustrated. This guy is really hard to fool. I'll have to use the harsh method. He pinched himself on the thigh. The pain made tears flow down immediately. He said pitifully, "Nia Lingyu, you big jerk. You used me up and now don't want to take responsibility. How can you treat me like this? You're bullying me." Wah! Nia Lingyu looked at the person in his arms and felt very guilty. Did I say something too harsh? But I really remember not touching him yesterday. Baiyu hammered Nia Lingyu's chest back. You big bad guy. You're so bad. Nia Lingyu hugged Baiyu directly, thinking, I drank too much yesterday. Did something really happen between us that I forgot? He coaxed Baiyu in his arms, saying, I'm sorry, stop crying. It's my fault. I drank too much and don't remember. Mingming, you know you're a bad egg, right? So you're going to take responsibility for me, right? Nia Lingyu gently responded. Target's affection increased by 10. The system excitedly exclaimed, I can't believe you pulled it off. Host, you're amazing. Of course, haven't you heard the saying, life is like a play, all relies on acting? Seize the opportunity and press the advantage. If you start with a big move and have an indescribable relationship with the target right away, the affection level will surely skyrocket. Baiyu lowered his clothes. Lingyu, you don't remember? What a pity. He caressed Nia Lingyu's cheek. Then let's do it again, just like yesterday. That way, you'll remember, right? Baiyu is too seductive. The male lead won't be able to resist. What do you think Nia Lingyu will do? Using his acting skills, Baiyu successfully fooled Nia Lingyu. Now, he just needed something real. He leaned entirely into Nia Lingyu, thinking that no man could resist such an invitation. Completing the task right at the start feels awesome. He reached for Nia Lingyu's Adam's apple but was grabbed and pushed away by Nia Lingyu, who said, No, we just did it yesterday. I'm afraid your body can't handle it. Baiyu thought internally, what the hell? Who wants you to be tender-hearted now? He tackled Nia Lingyu. It's okay. Because it's you, I can handle it. Stop talking and don't waste my time completing the task. The system said, My lord, you have seriously violated the rules. The original character was a delicate little white flower, but you turned her into a man-eating flower, causing a severe collapse of the character. Baiyu was indifferent, so what if it collapses? As long as the strategy is successful. Baiyu took the initiative to kiss Nia Lingyu. The system was freaking out in her mind. My lord, if you continue to violate the rules, it will cause the system to collapse and you will be severely punished. What punishment could there be? I'll just eat some plum candies. Leave me alone. The system was almost dying of anxiety. You will die in the system and never return to the real world again. Baiyu suddenly stopped. What did you say? OMG, is it that terrible? Is the arrow already on the string and I have no choice but to release it? Can this stump me? It's just a little white flower. I'll still make her throw herself at me. Baiyu leaned into Nie Lingyu's arms and cooed softly. Nie Lingyu asked, what's wrong? Are you feeling uncomfortable? With tears in her eyes, Baiyu said, no, just be gentle, okay? I'm a bit scared. Nie Lingyu comforted her, honey, we'll have plenty of opportunities in the future. Don't force yourself. Nie Lingyu stood up to get dressed, rest for a while. I'll ask the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Baiyu was frustrated, that's not what I meant. After all this, you're still not coming on to me? The system said, my lord, stay calm, you're the best. Nie Lingyu left after closing the door. Baiyu leaned on the bed thinking, since I can't collapse the character, it seems I need to redesign the strategy. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. The door was opened, and it turned out to be Baiyu's younger brother, Bai Lin. Bro, I finally found you. Are you okay? Did Lingyu brother do anything to you last night? Bai Lin walked into the room. Grasping Baiyu's hand, he said, I'm sorry, brother. I really didn't know yesterday that you and Yao Fang's elopement would be caught by brother Lingyu. If I had known, I would have detained brother Lingyu for you, Baiyu. Looking disdainfully, he thought, his acting is far worse than mine. Bai Lin said, brother, I will definitely help you escape. Baiyu looked at the cheap younger brother in front of him, it was you, kid, who leaked the news. Now you come to play the good guy. Let's see how I deal with you. Suddenly, he saw the foot of the door, it's him. He was testing me. Baiyu started his act, Bai Lin, I was too foolish before, unable to see my own feelings clearly. Now, I just want to stay by Lingyu's side. Bai Lin was shocked, how is that possible? Brother, what's wrong with you? Didn't you like Yao Fang the most? And you've always been making a fuss about marrying him. Before, you even said that brother Lingyu was the most detestable person in the world. Nie Lingyu, listening at the door to their conversation, was about to explode. The butler behind him was shocked, thinking that this was going to lead to someone getting killed. Bai Lin continued, you said you'd rather be with a dog than with him. Nie Lingyu's expression turned extremely gloomy, his favorability plummeting. The system was nearly dying of anxiety, help, the favorability is going to drop to nothing. Baiyu boasted impressively, what joke are you making? Lingyu is amazing. He's so awesome. How could I bear to leave him? Nie Lingyu, hearing Baiyu's words, instantly brightened up, favorability increased by 30. The system was utterly admiring, host, you're too powerful. Favorability has increased again. The power of that sentence is so great. Of course, it concerns a man's dignity. You don't understand. Bai Lin incredulously, what are you saying? You played poker with Lingyu? I'm literally fuming. They actually played poker. I've liked Nie Lingyu for so many years, seduced him in every way possible, but he never looked at me properly. He only has eyes for this idiot. Baiyu continued, of course, you don't know how amazing Lingyu is. Bai Lin caught Baiyu's clothes in a good grip, caught. The clothes slid directly down, revealing the warm marks on the body. Baiyu, with tears in her eyes, said, it hurts so much. It's all Lingyu's fault. He was too vigorous last night. My waist is about to break. Humph, I'll make you so angry. Bai Lin looked at the marks on Baiyu's body and was about to go mad when suddenly the door was opened with a bang. Bai Lin turned his head and saw Nie Lingyu looking extremely happy, then Nie Lingyu coldly said to him, you go out first, and close the door behind you. Baiyu looked at Nie Lingyu, what's wrong with him? Did I do something wrong to upset you? Nie Lingyu grabbed a sheet and wrapped Baiyu in it. He hugged her tightly, your body is mine, only mine. Don't let others see. What is Nie Lingyu angry about? Movie star Baiyu successfully fooled Nie Lingyu, and his cheap brother is about to die of anger. Nie Lingyu possessively hugged Baiyu, your body is mine, don't let anyone else see it. Baiyu's heart raced rapidly. I was supposed to be the one wooing Nie Lingyu, so why does it feel like I'm the one being wooed? Baiyu rested his hand on Nie Lingyu's chest, but Lin is my brother, he's not a stranger. Plus, I'm a guy, it's normal for guys to show their bodies, right? Nie Lingyu bumped Baiyu's chin, do you want me to chain you up and keep you by my side? You are mine. Baiyu began to understand. It's no wonder the original host was so afraid of him and wanted to leave forever. After all, the original host was a delicate flower, vulnerable to the harsh elements, while I, even if a flower, am a bewitching one. Baiyu ripped off his own shirt, grabbed Nia Lingyu's tie, and said sadly, "If you talk to me in that tone again, I won't kiss you first anymore." Before Baiyu could react, Nia Lingyu pounced on him. "Anyway, others can't see." He kissed Baiyu's body. Baiyu responded, "Alright, I understand, I'll only let you see." Changing the subject, "I was just in the kitchen." Nia Lingyu's mood brightened. "Let's get up and have breakfast. I've instructed the kitchen to make your favorite dishes, and I bought you some new clothes. Want to try them on?" Nia Lingyu helped Baiyu dress, while Baiyu was internally frantic. What exactly is going on with him? Looking at himself in the mirror, he thought, I might as well wrap myself up like a zongzi. Smiling at Nia Lingyu, he said, "I really like it. Lingyu, can you go to the dining room and wait for me? I'll join you after I wash up." Nia Lingyu turned and left the room. Baiyu unbuttoned his shirt, took a handsome drag of his cigarette. "Oh my, such a handsome guy, it's a pity he can only be the bottom." Baiyu said to the system, "Is he not into it? I've been so proactive, yet he still didn't pounce on me." The system replied, "I bet the antagonist is definitely very capable." Baiyu also turned to leave. "Alright then, let's hurry so we don't keep the antagonist waiting." Just as Baiyu stepped out, he was cursed by Suya. "Slut. I heard you tried to seduce brother Nye again. Stay away from him." Baiyu rolled his eyes. "Move aside." Suya, in a fit of rage, tried to hit Baiyu. "Oh, you slut, you have some nerve to talk to me like that. Today, I'm going to show you how tough I am." Baiyu thought dealing with this crazy woman was really troublesome. How would Baiyu handle Suya? Just as Baiyu stepped out, he was blocked by Suya, who even tried to hit him. Before Suya could strike, Baiyu slapped her directly. Suya was stunned. That damn slut actually dared to hit me. Suya heard footsteps behind her. Brother Nya is coming at the perfect time. Watch how I deal with you, you little slut. Suya took off her watch and threw it into Baiyu's hand, pointing aggrievedly at Baiyu and said to Nya Lingyu, "Brother Nya, Baiyu stole my watch. I found out, and he even hit me. Brother Nya, you have to stand up for me. A servant who steals from the master shouldn't be kept." The system's eyes lit up. "Host, he's even more dramatic than you." Baiyu also became resolute. I've never lost in acting." Baiyu instantly spoke with tears in his eyes. "I know Miss Su doesn't like me. Lingyu, if you also dislike me, you can just send someone to drive me away. Forget it, I know you won't believe me. I'll leave on my own." The system hastily said, "Host, are you crazy? If you just leave, how are we supposed to win over the villain?" Baiyu walked up to Lingyu. "Lingyu, take care of yourself and eat well. Don't drink so much, it's bad for your health." Touching Nia Lingyu's chest, "If I'm not around, you must take care of yourself. Goodbye, Lingyu." After saying this, he turned and ran away. Suya secretly rejoiced. "I can't believe that just a few words from me could drive away this annoying guy. After all, a servant is just a servant and can never be equal to the master." Baiyu thought, "I'll count to 3, Nia Lingyu will definitely stop me. 1, 2, 3, as expected." Nia Lingyu immediately grabbed Baiyu's wrist and pulled him into his arms. Baiyu was stunned. "Did I ever say you could leave?" Baiyu pulled away from Nia Lingyu's hand. "But Miss Su doesn't like me. She also said I stole his watch." "I didn't." Baiyu was sobbing in Nia Lingyu's arms. Nia Lingyu turned around and questioned Suya. "You said Baiyu stole your watch. Do you have any evidence?" Suya said guiltily, but my watch is in his hand. "What other evidence is needed?" Nia Lingyu took the watch and said, "Now the watch is in my hand." "Are you saying that I stole your watch?" He threw the watch away. Nia Lingyu said in a bad tone. "Someone see the guest out," Suya said in disbelief. "Brother Nya," the man said. "Miss Su, this way please." Suya yelled, "Let me go. It was him who hit me." Nia Lingyu coldly said, "From now on, don't let unrelated people in anymore." Suya burst into tears. "Brother Nya, how can you keep such a villain? We grew up together. We've grown up together, how could you do this to me?" Nia Gich, her heart-wrenching cries didn't win Nia Lingyu's sympathy. Baiyula clung to Nia Lingyu's neck. "Lingyu, thank you for not driving me away." Baiyu's tears come as she speaks, truly worthy of the title Best Actor. "I was so afraid you'd drive me away just now," Nia Lingyu said gently. "Don't be afraid, I'm here. Truly a boyfriend full of strength. Don't cry, it hurts my heart." He kissed her tears away, wishing he could kiss all the tears dry. "You belong to me alone, no one can take you away from me." How could Suya possibly compete with Baiyu, this little white lotus? Ha ha. Nya Lingyu directly drove her out. It's hard for Nya Lingyu to imagine what else could happen when he's not around. However, Baiyu didn't mind at all, even reaching out to hug Nya Lingyu's neck. Lingyu, as long as you don't drive me away, I won't leave you. Nya Lingyu's pupils suddenly dilated, unable to control himself anymore. He pulled Baiyu tightly into his arms. You are mine, both body and soul. He leaned down and kissed her. The little confused one watched everything in front of him, dumbfounded, hardly believing his own eyes. His favorability soared as Baiyu and Nya Lingyu kissed, inseparable. Suddenly, an inconsiderate little thing kept buzzing in his ear. Baiyu really wanted to hit someone. Can't you see I'm busy? Don't bother me. If you keep bothering me, I'll apply to change systems. The little confused one looked at him pitifully. Host is so rough, not far away. Lin watched everything in front of him, about to explode with anger. Suya is indeed cunning, but her brother is even more cunning than her. Who knew that this time, by some turn of events, it made Nya Lingyu even more infatuated with Baiyu. Lin gritted his teeth tightly. No, he absolutely cannot sit and wait for death. That afternoon, Lin took Baiyu to a hotel while Nya Lingyu was away. Bro, it's here. Yao Feng is waiting for you inside. In order to eliminate the gap between himself and the antagonist, he was trying to clear up his relationship with Yao Feng. Unexpectedly, Lin helped him by delivering the opportunity. Lin gave Baiyu a candy with added ingredients and told him to eat it. Baiyu said he would eat it after they got to the room. Then he opened the door. Without even seeing Yao Feng, he heard the sound of water flowing from the bathroom. So impatient. Xiaoyu, wait for me a bit. I'll be done soon. Yao Feng's voice followed. Baiyu looked at the bathroom door with a face full of disdain. This man really is impatient, taking a bath before anyone even arrived. Baiyu looked around. The room was decorated romantically and warmly, with rose petals scattered on the bed. Baiyu couldn't help but exclaim, wow, this place is amazing. Stop being happy. I can sense the antagonist right at the door. Think about what to do quickly. Little confusion is about to die of anxiety. Baiyu smiled cunningly, not worried at all. What's there to be anxious about? I'm just waiting for him to come. Then he took out the candy Lin gave him and ate it. As it went down, a blush involuntarily appeared on Baiyu's face. Even his eyes became misty. Rarely did Lin prepare so thoroughly. Even if the antagonist can't do it today, I'm going to get him into bed here. Yao Feng had just walked out of the bathroom and saw Baiyu sitting on the bed. Yao Feng became completely excited, as if he had been injected with adrenaline. Baiyu was always beautiful, but now, with just one look, she could take his soul away. Yao Feng directly grabbed Baiyu's slender leg. Come over to your brother. Today, your brother will take good care of you. Yet, Baiyu just gave Yao Feng a contemptuous look and warned him directly, Yao Feng, don't touch me. Otherwise, you'll regret it. Yao Feng felt like he was about to be enchanted to death by this little vixen in front of him. Baby, if I don't touch you, I'll be the one regretting it. Saying so, Yao Feng lunged towards Baiyu and tore her clothes open. Everyone was anxiously panicking when suddenly, a loud bang erupted. The door was kicked open forcefully by Nya Lingyu. Seeing the newcomer was Nya Lingyu, Yao Feng trembled all over with fear and quickly started begging for mercy. Nya Lingyu clenched his teeth tightly, and with a face full of malice, he walked over to Yao Feng and grabbed his throat. You dared to lay a hand on my person? Just as Yao Feng was about to force himself on Baiyu, the room's door was kicked open by Nya Lingyu. Grabbing Yao Feng's throat, Nya Lingyu looked at Baiyu on the bed, her cheeks flushed unnaturally, looking in immense pain, even her breathing seemed more rapid than usual. Nya Lingyu's grip on Yao Feng's neck tightened. What did you do to her? Yao Feng hurriedly explained, nothing at all. Nya Lingyu then flung Yao Feng away with a throw. I'll settle this account with you later. Even if my heart is filled with raging fury, Baiyu is much more important than Yao Feng at this moment. Nya Lingyu hurriedly picks up Baiyu. Baiyu's cheeks are red, looking both tempting and pitiful. Lingyu, I feel terrible. Xiao Mihua is almost dying of anxiety watching the affection level plummet. Baiyu reassures Xiao Mihua in his heart, don't worry, it'll all come back soon. Clearly not convinced, Xiao Mihua thinks, just you watch. Baiyu then rips open his own clothes, revealing his chest, utterly enchanting. Baiyu looks at him pitifully, with tears welling up in his eyes. Lingyu, I'm so hot, I feel so bad. Don't be afraid, I'll take you to the hospital, Nya Lingyu says, preparing to lift Baiyu from the bed. Inside, Baiyu feels a stampede of frustration.
He's already playing the seduction card this far, yet the villain remains unmoved.
Bai Yu grabs Nia Lingyu by the neck.
His sweet, soft lips then unexpectedly pressed against Nia Lingyu's. Nia Lingyu's voice is hoarse to the extreme. Be good, I'll take you to the hospital. Bai Yu looks at him with moist eyes.
Lingyu, I won't go to the hospital. I feel so bad. Save me, will you?
Hearing Bai Yu say this, Nia Lingyu feels his mind explode, hardly able to think.
If he refuses now, could he even consider himself a man?
The two of them instantly entangle like lightning striking the earth, completely ignoring Bai Lin's shouts outside the door.
An hour later, Bai Yu was practically questioning his life. Wasn't the villain supposed to be impotent? But who was this brutal person who nearly took half his life? Damn it, who could endure such brutality?
Bai Yu finally shared an intimate moment with Nia Lingyu, which totally wore him out. Little Muddle looked at him with a face full of schadenfreude, his words brimming with pride.
I told you, there's no way the villain could be impotent. He's the most powerful being in this world.
Bai Yu listened to Little Muddle's words speechlessly, really wanting to beat him to death.
But, however, he has sacrificed so much already. This time, the villain should be satisfied, right?
Bai Yu looked forward expectantly, waiting for the increase in favorability.
Bai Yu was getting impatient. Xiao Mihua, where is my increase in favorability?
Bai Yu asked eagerly, what good side?
The system said nonchalantly, at least, you had your fun, didn't you?
Bai Yu was completely exasperated.
Get lost. Nia Lingyu stood up, smiling at Bai Yu. Good morning, baby.
Bai Yu looked at Nia Lingyu with a mournful face.
He's so miserable. His little chrysanthemum is almost becoming a sunflower. And in the end, the favorability didn't even increase.
Nia Lingyu caressed Bai Yu's face, finding the person in front of him even sweeter than he imagined. It felt addictive with just one touch, and he couldn't stop.
Nia Lingyu gently kissed Bai Yu's earlobe.
His eyes unconsciously narrowed. He really wanted to lock him up, chain him to his own bed, and keep him for himself alone. Thinking this, Nia Lingyu's phone suddenly rang.
Xiaoyu, I have to go out and meet with a client. I will have someone come to pick you up later.
Bai Yu hugged Nia Lingyu from behind, saying mournfully, you just leave after having your fill.
And now you're going to accompany someone else. You don't love me at all. Nia Lingyu was stunned for a moment.
So, his little one didn't want him to accompany others.
Was this jealousy?
Xiao Mihu excitedly said, host's favorability has increased.
With just one sentence, it actually increased by 10 points. Host, you're really amazing.
Bai Yu's mouth twitched. If I'd known that saying a few words could earn me so much favorability, why did I work so hard?
I'm about to fall apart.
Listening to Bai Yu's jealous remarks, Nia Lingyu felt a wave of tenderness. She would take the initiative to kiss him and would feel jealous because he was going to accompany someone else. It was like a dream, he was so happy. Nia Lingyu couldn't help but brush Bai Yu's cheek, gently wiping away the tears at the corners of her eyes.
Don't cry, baby, it makes me heartbroken. How could I not love you? He dominantly pried open Bai Yu's teeth.
He kissed her deeply, as if trying to merge her into his own bones and blood, never getting enough of the kiss. Reluctantly, Nia Lingyu said to Bai Yu, Xiaoyu, be good.
I'll be back soon.
Bai Yu felt a bit deflated hearing Nia Lingyu was leaving.
Then go ahead. Have someone come to get me later. Bai Yu's anger hadn't subsided. Annoying villain, taking everything without leaving any favorability points. I'm really pissed off. Nia Lingyu's dark eyes dimmed.
He hugged Bai Yu tightly and said in a low voice, never mind.
You come with me.
Although he didn't want anyone to see his treasure, he couldn't bear Bai Yu being upset.
Bai Yu looked reluctant. When did he ever say he wanted to go?
Just as he was about to refuse, he suddenly heard Xiao Mihu's excited voice, wow, host, favorability increased by another 5 points. A gleam flashed in Bai Yu's eyes. He wrapped his arms around Nia Lingyu's neck, and his sweet voice followed, Lingyu, you are the best.
Let's go together.
As long as the villain knows I have him in my heart, the favorability will definitely increase.
If direct approach doesn't work, then use wits. Do you want to see how Bai Yu uses his wits?
After going through trials and tribulations together, Nia Lingyu couldn't bear to leave Bai Yu alone. So, he planned to take Bai Yu with him to meet a client.
Nia Lingyu's meeting place was at a nightclub. In fact, many people in the business world mix pleasure with business.
When Nia Lingyu and Bai Yu arrived at the nightclub's private room,
everyone in the room held their breath upon seeing Bai Yu.
Bai Yu, standing timidly by Nia Lingyu's side, was in the most inconspicuous corner.
Yet, he unavoidably caught everyone's attention. From the moment Nie Lingyu's client saw Bai Yu, he was completely captivated. What more business could he talk about? All he wanted was to possess the person before him. Bai Yu, smoking outside, might as well have been catching up on sleep at home. So boring. Suddenly, a bald client grabbed Bai Yu. Beautiful, how much did Nie Lingyu pay you? I'll double it. Come spend the night with me. As he said this, he moved his alcohol-laden breath closer to Bai Yu. People wanting to take advantage of Bai Xiaoya haven't been born yet. Bai Yu pushed the bald man away. Are you sure you want me to accompany you? But I doubt you can afford the compensation I want, beautiful. In desperation, he reached out his hand toward Bai Yu's face. Really? What if I want your life? There was a hint of devilishness in his eyes as he grabbed the customer's chin, gently lifting his head. To be told by such a pretty little thing that he wanted his life, the customer couldn't help but laugh. However, in the next second, Bai Yu punched the bald man hard in the stomach. A burst of pain swept through his body instantly, and the intense pain in his stomach made him sit down on the ground. Bai Yu, smoking a cigarette, stepped closer to the bald man. The bald man was already scared and hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry, I was confused. I will never dare again. Bai Yu, seeing the customer laugh even more happily, pressed the cigarette butt onto the bald man's head. Suddenly, Nie Lingyu's voice came from behind. Bai Yu shivered, and the voice of Xiao Mihu instantly rang in Bai Yu's ears. Host, you forgot, I am currently a delicate little white flower. If the villain sees me hitting someone, then I'll be out of character, OC. Bai Yu turned and threw himself into Nie Lingyu's arms, instantly squeezing out a few tears. Lingyu, he bullied me. I don't want to live. As he spoke, he burrowed into Nie Lingyu's arms, crying so sadly. He said he wants me to accompany him tonight, he even touched me. I'm really scared. Lingyu, if you hadn't come, would I have been defiled by this beast? The customer watched Bai Yu in disbelief, while the bald man desperately shook his head, saying, he's lying. Bai Yu turned around and glared at him fiercely. Did you ever say you wanted me to accompany you? And why would I slander you? I didn't even know you before. But Bai Yu didn't expect that his words would immediately cause Nie Lingyu's dark value to soar. He kicked the bald guy's head. You want him to accompany you tonight? Nie Lingyu gritted his teeth, barely suppressing the fury in his heart. You dare to touch my man? He grabbed the customer's collar and lifted him up. In this world, besides him, no one could touch Bai Yu. Nie Lingyu punched the bald guy's face repeatedly. Nie Lingyu repeatedly punches the bald man's face. The voice of Little Dizzy comes, oh no, the villain is turning dark. How do you think Bai Yu should stop Nie Lingyu from turning dark? Episode 10. The bald man wants to possess Bai Yu. Bai Yu wants to practice on him. Nie Lingyu comes over. To keep up appearances, he cries to Nie Lingyu about how the bald man bullied him. But because of a single sentence, Nie Lingyu turns dark and starts hitting the bald customer very hard. Just one punch leaves the customer's face bloody. Little Dizzy's voice keeps ringing in Bai Yu's head. Host, I feel the villain is turning dark. This can't go on. We must quickly stop him. Bai Yu frowns as well. He didn't expect that just that would so infuriate Nie Lingyu. This person's possessiveness over him has gone beyond imagination. By now, a crowd has gathered around, including the nightclub's security guards, but seeing Nie Lingyu like this, not one of them dares to step forward to stop him. Bai Yu rushes forward and grabs Nie Lingyu's arm. Lingyu, stop hitting him. But Nie Lingyu seems to have lost all reason and simply can't stop. Moreover, the people from Nie Lingyu's private room come out to mock coldly. They think, who does he think he is? Just a light word, and he wants Nie Lingyu to stop. Bai Yu tightly holds onto Nie Lingyu's arm. With a shout, Nie Lingyu, if you keep this up, I'm going to be scared. The hall became quiet instantly. Bai Yu's words pierced Nie Lingyu's heart like a needle. Since he was very young, he showed a tendency towards violence unlike other kids. Almost everyone was afraid of him. Only Bai Yu was not afraid of him, always sweetly calling him Brother Lingyu. Thus, for Nie Lingyu, Bai Yu was like a savior. But somehow, their relationship began to change, and even Bai Yu started to fear him and even dislike him. As he grew up, he gained power and influence, and countless people began to flatter him, but everything had already changed. Yet, the only person he still wanted was Bai Yu. Regaining his composure, Nie Lingyu pulled Bai Yu tightly into his embrace. Bai Yu, don't be afraid of me. The thing he feared most in this world was Bai Yu being afraid of him. Bai Yu sighed softly, thankful that the villain hadn't continued to turn darker. He lifted his eyes and smiled at Nie Lingyu. How could I be afraid of you? It's just that the person was too tough. I was afraid it hurt your hand. Nie Lingyu was shocked, unable to believe that he really wasn't afraid of him. Episode 11, Bai successfully prevents Nielingyu from turning evil. He looks carefully at Nielingyu's hands and says with heartache, "How did you get hurt so badly?" He quickly asks a waiter to bring some paper. At this moment, the waiter hands Bai a handkerchief, saying, "Use this to wipe your hands." Bai carefully wipes Nielingyu's hands. Then he notices the waiter, who is looking at Nielingyu eagerly, even his eyes sparkling with light. Bai's pupils suddenly constrict. Isn't this the young man who, in the original storyline, was used as a substitute after the original protagonist died and was eventually killed by Nielingyu? Now this young protagonist is looking at the villain with such eyes. Could it be that he has fallen for the villain? That won't do. The villain is his alone. He still needs the villain to gain favorability. He won't let anyone else have the villain. He grabs Nielingyu's hand and heads outside. But he doesn't notice that Nielingyu's eyes have darkened a bit. As soon as they get home, Nielingyu locks the door. "Lingyu, what are you doing?" Bai feels that something is off with the person in front of him. His little confused system also reminds him, "Host, the villain's darkening value has increased again." Bai frowns, "What's going on?" "I just stopped him from turning dark." However, before Bai can react, Nielingyu grabs his wrist and pins him against the wall. "Lingyu, what's wrong with you? Xiaoyu, why can't your eyes only look at me?" Nielingyu tightly wrapped his hands around Bai's waist, desperately kissing him. Bai reached out to hold Nielingyu. Even though he didn't know what was wrong with him, he could still feel Nielingyu's deep unease. Then, Bai heard Nielingyu's voice commandingly rise, "You can't stare at others like that in the future, nor can you, do you understand?" Nielingyu said seriously, even with a hint of warning in his eyes. Bai was stunned before he realized that he had looked at that young man a couple of times in the nightclub because he felt familiar, and then smiled politely at him when he handed him a handkerchief. Because of that waiter, he actually got jealous. So, this was the reason the villain lord got angry. Bai couldn't help but laugh. He grabbed Nielingyu, and then fiercely kissed his cheek, whispering to the little confused one in his heart, "Watch me perform. Get ready to receive a good impression, huh?" Then, Bai directly counterattacked, pinning Nielingyu underneath him. "It was clearly you who kept staring at that person. I only looked because of you. How can you accuse me like this?" Nielingyu frowned, "When did I stare at others? It's you. Didn't you see that young boy's gaze?" His eyes were practically popping out. "That's why I glared at him," Bai said while snuggling into Nielingyu's embrace. "I don't like the way he looks at you, as if he wants to steal you away from me. Lingyu, you are mine alone. Do you think you could ever fall for that boy?" Nielingyu chuckled softly, his heart filled with tenderness. "You fool, how could I ever fancy someone so unattractive? With you here, how could there be anyone else in my eyes?" Then, the two began a segment not suitable for children, and the affection level started to rise steadily. After a night of passion, the affection level spiked by 15 points, reaching 80 directly. It was simply unbelievable. The confused little one excitedly said to Bai, "Host, you are simply amazing." Bai's eyes instantly lit up, helping him up, claiming he could go another 500 rounds. Nielingyu held the now sleeping Bai, a dangerous glint flashing in his eyes. In just a few days, 3 men had appeared beside Bai. These people were like flies, swarming around Bai, causing him extreme disgust. He no longer wanted to leave Bai outside, he wanted to confine him, to have him exist in a world where only he himself was present. Whether through surveillance or tracking, any means were acceptable. All he wanted was for Bai to belong solely to him from now on. The next day, Bai leisurely sat in a hanging chair, reading a book. As the saying goes, you reap what you sow. Although he wasn't the one who sowed, he was the land being cultivated. Anyway, it's all the same, he still got the harvest. At this moment, the land hurriedly ran to Bai's side. "Brother, something happened to Yao Feng." Seeing how Nielingyu treated that client yesterday, he knew Nielingyu would not let Yao Feng off. However, Bai still pretended to be surprised. "Really? Is it true?" "Brother, Yao Feng got beaten up.